Oh!
Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And here's a video I never thought I would do in 100 years or so, you know. A video aimed at Tariq Nasheed. And I'm not going to just talk about him. I'm going to talk about, you know, a lot of the pro-black proprietors of poverty. You know what I mean? I'm like these slick-talking, silver-tongued, you know, black men that ultimately just seems to be just capitalizing off the casualties of black people and not producing much results. And you know, and I'm telling you, there's only a few people that I listen to when it comes to this whole pro-black thing and wanting to motivate black people to go against white supremacy, whatever. And that's Welshing, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Neely Fuller, and Randall Robertson, and a couple of other people that, you know, that has like Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Clark, Hendrix Clark, you know, rest in peace, they passed away. But I feel that a lot of our black leaders or whatever are just becoming historical relics, you know. You know what I mean? They may not have any useful information as of in 2015. But let's talk about Tariq Nasheed. You know, as they call him, the lip smacking Mac. The gladiator of lip gloss. So, but supposedly he seemed to be vexed at me. You know, I called in the Mike Mills show. Mike Mills was telling me that Tariq Nasheed went on a tirade, and it stems from Tariq. I did a cartoon of Tommy Sotomayor. I did this cartoon like 2.5 years ago, a drawing. You know, so the drawing is old. He put the drawing on Instagram, on his Instagram. You know, I don't fuck with Instagram. I don't follow anybody on it. See, Instagram and Twitter, I just think that's just a fucking waste of time. You know what I mean? If you're already on Facebook, there's no need to even mess with these, because they're just coming out with all kind of stuff now. But, you know, just to lure people in and get people distracted, and, you know, and they make their money. But, you know, supposedly he used this cartoon, and then he said, who did this? Like, he was asking, who did this cartoon? You know, and I showed up in his comment section and I said, thanks for enjoying my cartoon. You know, I got some other cartoons on my Facebook, you know, yada, 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 things of that nature. You know, now this was a while ago. This was probably about 2 months ago, almost 3 months, maybe about 2 months ago. You know, that he put this on Instagram, and I just showed up on his Instagram page and said, you know, what I said, and then I left it alone. Whether Tariq acknowledged me or whatever, I really didn't care. You know, it wasn't like I'm bugging him, like I kept emailing him or inboxing him or whatever and said, hey Tariq, have you seen the, you know what I'm saying, why don't you give me a shout out? Or it wasn't like that I was inboxing him my cartoons and said, hey, put this up there on your Instagram, put this on there, and I'm pestering this dude. No, I made one comment on, you know what I'm saying, on his Instagram, and I kept it moving. I didn't stay there and just flood the comment section up. I kept it moving, you know. And supposedly he went on a rant, you know. I haven't seen the video clip yet, and I haven't heard it. I don't think I want to hear it. But, you know, according they said that he went on a 15-minute tirade. When someone spends 15 minutes on somebody that really hasn't done anything to them, just by saying, hey, you know what I mean, it was me, check out my Facebook, I got some more cartoons on my Facebook, that's it. That means he really didn't have much substance, whatever his show he was talking about. You know, I'm like, I never had any gripes against him. I know he didn't mention my name, but I never had, but it's like, he's like, you know, according to, you know, sources, like, I'm somebody that wasn't raised right, somebody who spends time at Comic-Con. Well, you know, we're talking about comic books. Comic books are all the rage now. You know, everybody, you know, they make a lot of money. There's a black comic, the EBAC, there's what I consider the Black Comic-Con, you know what I'm saying, that happens in Baltimore every year, you know, which I make it an effort to go out there. I haven't been there this year though. I mean last year, but I'm going next year. But but that's kind of silly hanging out at comic. When we know comic book movies are like the rage now. I'm like, they're doing reboots of movies that they just released a year ago, and then next year they're just saying, hey, we're going to reboot it. But the thing is with Tariq, so basically I wasn't strange. I wasn't raised right. I'm like, how do you define someone being raised? And like he's mimicking, Tommy Sotomayor, his arch nemesis and so forth, talking about how black men were raised and whatnot, and so forth. And I know Jason Black does this too. I know Kevin Smith was talking to, Kevin Smith was trying to ask these dudes questions, and he said that he was raised by a single mother. And that's the thing. And that's the thing is we got to watch out, saying for these pro-black panhandlers. Because I've been seeing through them. I really didn't. I respect Tariq Nasheed, but I never fucked with him real serious like. I never even fucked with Jason Black. I just said, okay, he makes points here, but I kind of, it's their character. That's the thing. I'm like, you take someone like Nelly Fuller, which I have utmost respect for. Nelly Fuller gets on a radio show and he deals with his detractors and he has people asking him questions and he just responds to them logical. He doesn't cuss them out. He doesn't say, oh, you've been raised by a single mother, bitch ass nigger and this and that. He just swaps them down with logic. Just by being, just being more intelligent than this person and making this person seem like a fool. That's the way you do it, rather than saying, hey man, you're just a bitch ass nigger. That way you're just resorting to just a petty, uneducated dude on the street, and that's what we need to move away from. But the thing is, with black men and as black people, on how we interact with one another is considered normal. It just says when someone just gets mad, they just call you, a nigger. Get out of here. I remember one time I was listening to Tariq's radio show, when the reason why I just stopped dealing with it is because there was a caller that came in and asked him some advice because he was working. This dude was like 22 years old. He worked a job where where white people was looking at him funny. They would stare at him and treated him. He was asking Tariq, well, what can I do about this? What's your best advice? And Tariq said, start your own business. That's it. And then he booted him off and played that little clip. Get out of here, you damn nigger. And then, the name of the show was talking about, I don't want no pity party. For people who complain about racism, any sort of pity party. Do for yourself. But he himself kind of complains about white supremacy in the dominant society. Now, this young man was 22 years old. Who is it to say that in the future, when he builds his credit up, when he saves up money, he may wanna, start his own business. But at this time, he's young. We don't know what's going on in his life. He could be working his job while he's in school, and so forth. But that's the thing, is that Tariq Nasheed is really the wrong kind of guy to call for, really kind of any kind of advice. When I listen to him, it seems like his advice is, so basic and like, Now, let's go into Hidden Colors. Well, that's this flagship documentaries. So I gotta lay off the energy drinks. I'm burping, but I've never seen one Hidden Color. I never ordered it. And the reason why, I've seen clips of it, I just stated there's probably nothing here that I don't already know. It's good that other people, but I'll talk about documentaries like Africa Odile, 500 Nations, with invaluable information, and so forth. And these documentaries are just clips that he gets from somewhere else or somebody else just breaking it down. And then he talks there with a suit and tie on. I'm like, Tariq is a businessman. Things he does is business. He does not seem like a revolutionary by any means. He does not seem like anybody that's going to get his fingernails dirty. He's going to put lip gloss on and try to look good for the camera. Everything is just business. And right now, you know what I'm saying, there's just so much money in the black community. I'm like, you can make money just by calling a white man the devil all day, and it said, hey, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying, support black owned business, us black people need to support each other or whatever, invest in each other, here, give me your money, give me, and they're not producing much results. Now, the Mike Mills show, we brought up Black Lives Matter, and I have my own, I'm skeptic about this movement. You know, I'm not an advocate of Black Lives Matter because I know that it was started by some white liberal billionaire or a millionaire, some white dude that has a whole lot of money. And I know Tariq Nasheed called it out, you know, talking about be wary of Black Lives Matter. But one thing I do respect him, and this is what All Facts brought up on the show, because me, I don't steal nobody's, you know, information and then run with it and say it's my own. He brought it up to how powerful it was, about how Black Lives Matter is all up in the politician's face, that these politicians got to recognize it, that they turned this phrase into a household name. Now, no matter wherever you go in your country, people know, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? They, you know what I'm saying? They had basically the wheels of propaganda is very strong. You know, my thing is, why didn't Tariq Nasheed, the Black Authority, why have they failed to create a strong movement to it's a household name, to the point where politicians got to look at it and recognize and say, like, hey, you're on something here. Now, I know other guys have, you know, I mean, I can understand back in the days, Jesse Jackson said, I had Keep Hope Alive, I Am Somebody. I respect that, you know what I'm saying, but that's, you know, Farrakhan had the Million Man March, which was very strong in the 90s, but now we're in, you know, 2015. You know, and that's the thing. And if we keep giving these guys money, I'm like, the Hidden Colors is great. It's great that we know our history, but what are we going to do now? Move forward. It's great that we know that black men, you know, did all this stuff. You know, I know about that stuff. You know, built the pyramids. Black people built Stonehenge or whatever. The Black Moors had so much influence, you know, in Congress back in the days. You know, and that's the thing. But what are you going to do now, you know what I'm saying, as far as finances, about really getting the ball rolling? And I know Tariq Nasheed, there was some female, black female, you know what I'm saying, that was stepping on the flag. I forgot her name. I forgot, Soul Sister or something like that. And Tariq was just, you know what I mean, was just saying a lot of derogatory stuff about her, calling her agent, don't follow her, she's the angry black woman and so forth. But what is Tariq doing? You know what I mean? I just, Tariq may go someplace and take some pictures, but you know what I'm saying? He does seem like when it's time to pop off the gun and do something, he seems like someone that's just going to be the cowardly lion. That's just how, you know what I mean, my impression of him. Yeah, no, I'm like, you got people like Randall Robinson, which I've mentioned before. Randall Robinson, who wrote numerous books. His books are more valuable to us than Tariq's Mackin lessons or whatever, because Randall Robinson wrote The Debt about slave reparations. He's wrote the conflict in Haiti, Unbroken Agony, The Reckoning. He wrote a book called Quitting America, where he talks about he just left this country and he's already basically lives he's not even an American citizen anymore, and so forth. But Randall Robinson has sat at the table with African leaders, made moves with Aristide, made moves with Fidel Castro. He was out there in war zones, you know, when the whole conflict broke out in Haiti, when Emmanuel Constant was gunning down the Haitians or whatever. That's when back in 1993-94 when you had the Haitians getting on those two inner tubes or whatever, you know, refugees coming into Florida because of what was going on. Randall Robinson was right there, and he has pictures to prove it. You know, but you're not going to hear about Randall Robinson because he's not some slick talking dude off the street. You know, he's kind of calm and mild mannered, soft spoken. He's not somebody that's going to be all on social media, because he's going to be in Africa. He's going to be in all these different places, you know what I'm saying, making moves. You know, and that's the thing. And I do feel with Tariq Nasheed, when he sees somebody out there, real like that female, what's her name? soul sister or something, somebody out there on the front lines getting into white people's faces, you know what I mean, he's gonna say something like, you know, you know what I'm saying, or black people don't follow this or whatever. And that's the thing. And then with the you know, the blacks or whatever, I'm like, we tend to just sheepishly follow anybody that's just claiming they're for our people, claiming for black people when they want to get their when they're just lining up their pockets. We'll just follow behind them, you know what I'm saying, without really analyzing their message or analyzing their moral fiber. You know what I mean? There's people like Randall Robinson, Neely Fuller, Dr. Boyce Watkins that seem to have strong character. Like if you talk to them, even if you have a disagreement with them, they're not going to cuss you out. They're not going to call you a bitch ass nigga or a lowlifer or just boot you out, you know, and so forth. So we have to be wary. We have to be mindful on how we interact with one another. But yeah, I'm like, you know, Tariq Nasheed, I'm like, you know, he does got some good information, and maybe he's reaching a demographic that wouldn't pick up a buck or, you know what I'm saying, or do any real kind of research, because with him, he just breaks things down sort of kind of simple. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, he's about his profits. You know what I'm saying, he even stated himself, you know, he lives in a white neighborhood, you know, people like, I'm like, he's not too far from off the edge of Tommy Sotomayor. And I would say that Tommy Sotomayor is right and exact on why Tariq